Hello and welcome to this course. First of all, let me thank you for taking it. I hope you enjoy it and learn some useful tips. So the first thing we're going to do is open the software, of course. I have already created my document, but if you don't know how to create a new document, I'm going to teach you super quickly how you can do it. You can go to File, New, or just press Ctrl-N on your keyboard. And once you do that, a window like this is going to appear. I'm using the latest version of Illustrator CC, but if you're using a different version, the information should be the same, just the layout may be a little bit different. So just make sure that you pick a canvas that is big enough. I'm going to use 1000 by 1000, and for now let's go with RGB. If you would like to print this project, you would have to change it to CMYK, but for now, just to have vibrant colors, we're going to be using RGB. Now we're going to be using a lot of basic shapes for this project, so it is important that you understand where are they and how you can use them. So go to your tools panel, and probably by default you're going to see the rectangle tool. If you click and hold that click, you can see the rest of the options. Click on this little triangle and you can deattach the window and bring it next to your canvas. Now for this project, we're going to be illustrating a fairy tale, your favorite fairy tale actually, of when you were a kid or when you were a child. And I had picked the Three Little Pigs because I think it's a fun tale that talks about really working hard on doing things properly. And we're going to be creating our characters using only basic shapes or some pen tool, but this is no matter what project or what tale you pick, you should be able to create your characters just as I'm going to do mine. So I'm going to press the ellipse tool and create an ellipse. Let's remove the fill for now. And I actually made a circle. I did that by pressing Shift and constraining the proportions. Now that I have my circle, I'm gonna make a little face so you see what I'm gonna be talking about. Don't mind for now how I'm doing this. And the reason why I'm doing this face is that I'm gonna show you how if you make a simple circle, it may look good, but I think the character is lacking a little bit of individuality and of attributes. So we're gonna delete the face and let's work on our circle. And now let's go to our direct selection tool or press A on our keyboard, and let's move these anchor points a little bit to the bottom. So just by moving those anchor points, you get a whole different shape. So now it's kind of like an egg, but not that pointy. And you can keep moving your anchor points a little bit right there. Now let's say that you would like to move one of the handles, so that's also something that you could do. So let's go and move one of the handles. Now you can see that to move the other one evenly, it could be different, so you only need a half. So you can use that by selecting everything and then go to your eraser tool, and if you click and hold that click, you can find the scissors tool. Press the C shortcut and click on both anchor points, and now you have a half. Now you can move it around as much as you need it. And now let's go to your tools panel and the rotate. If you click and hold on the rotate, you can find the reflect tool, or press O. Click on one of the anchor points to put that right there, and then press Alt and Shift to create a copy. Now all you have to do is go to your direct selection tool, select the anchor points right there on the top, go here on the top to your anchor point and find connect selected endpoint. Do the same for the top and the bottom, and now you have your shape. Now, as I said before, this is looking way more appealing than if I had just made a circle or a rectangle and then round the corner. So one thing that I also like to do is I want to move one of the sides, but to make sure that you move it evenly, what you have to do is select one and then press Shift and then use the arrow keys. So that way you can make sure that you give the same space from one side to the other. And this is going to be the head for my little pig. Now I'm going to create an ellipse that is going to be the eye. Let's press Alt and Shift while I drag it, so I can make a copy. If I press Alt, I can make a copy. If I press Shift, I move it on or constrain it to move it on only one direction. Now let's group the object by going to Object Group. It's always very important that you group objects that are going to be moving together, that are going to have the same color or attributes so you can easily move them around. I want to align this, so I'm going to go to Window, Align, and if you click that one, you're going to get a window like this. Now select both your objects and make sure that you are aligning to your key object. And if you do that, when I just change that, you can see that the eyes now have like a thicker outline, and now they are the key object. And now if I click on Horizontal Align Center, you can see how the face or that shape has moved with the eyes. So for me, it's very important that you understand that having your objects aligned like gives the right thing. Also, you can double click to go inside your group. You can see how I'm inside. Move it a little bit, the eye, if you want them to be more separated. Go outside your group, and if you select both objects and then click again on the one, now you can make that a key object. And you can see also how on the align it has changed to a key. So these are different ways of how you can set a different key object. Now let's go to our ellipse tool and make a rectangle just like this. Let's swap our stroke and fill. And now I'm using the latest version of Illustrator CC, as I told you before. So I have these little handles that allow you to round the corners all the way to the center. So you get something like this in no time. But then what happens if you are using a previous version? You could get a way around. So you could go to Effect and then find Stylize and then Round Corners. A window like this is going to appear. In here you can have a little preview, and you can see that if I increase the radius, I also get a similar effect. It's not the same, but it's also something different. So maybe you want a shape that is more like an ellipse, but not as much as an ellipse. So you can get a very nice result as well. So keep it in mind, even if you have Illustrator CC, you could use it. Now let's align everything just as I showed you before. Make one the key object and move it. I want to make two smaller ellipses for this part of the peak, so I can make his nose. Now again, while pressing Alt and Shift, I'm making a copy. Let's group those. And now that I have grouped them, make one the key object and align them. And this is beginning to look like my face. Now what I'm going to do is create the ear. So I'm going to go to my ellipse tool and just make a circle. And as I said, constrain the proportions by pressing Shift. And if also you press Alt, you can make this exact click where you made the click to be the center of your object. So I'm going to make a circle just like this. And right now it's looking like the ear of a bear, so that's not making any sense. We're going to change that. So to do that, we're going to be modifying some of the anchor points that your pad has. So go to your direct selection tool, press A on your keyboard, select that top anchor point and just move it a little bit there. Now what you could do is also move the handles a little bit to give it more roundness. And you can see how in no time I have a shape that resembles the ear of a pig. I'm going to undo it and do it again so you can see. And you can keep moving it around as much as you want. For example, I like better this shape and that's fine. Now what I'm going to do is go to my pen tool or press P on my keyboard. Let's make a point, make another one and drag a little bit so you get this round line. Now let's group this for now so you can see how I can move them. And now I want to create a reflection of that ear. And this is something that I'm doing all the time when I'm creating a character or working on a project. So you could go here to the reflect tool or just press O, find the center of your pig and just pressing Alt and Shift to create a copy. And that is great. But you could also select your object, go right click, transform, reflect. This window is going to appear and there you can have a little preview and make sure that you are copying in a vertical axis and just move it around there. But as I said, this is something that I'm going to be doing a lot. So to save time, I'm going to create an action. So to create an action, you're going to go to Window, Actions, and a window like this one is going to appear. Here you have the default actions that the software has when you install it. and you can create a new action or a new set. I would recommend that you create your own set, so just click new set, and you could name it something like my actions or the actions for fairy tale, whatever you want. Now let's create a new action, and here you can name your action. So in my case, it's going to be reflect, because that's what the action is going to be doing. You can set it to your actions or default actions. And now you can set a function key. Now make sure that you understand which ones you are using for other things. So for now, I'm going to use F11. And you could also press Shift and Control while defining your function key. And you could color code it if you need it. But now if you hit record, in that exact moment, it's going to begin recording everything that you do on the software. So make sure that you are ready to create your action when you are. So I'm going to select my object, go right click, reflect, make sure that I'm reflecting on my vertical axis, and hit copy. And now you can see that all the steps have been recorded. I can click here to stop my action. Now let's just delete this so you can see. Now if I select this ear and press F11, automatically I'm playing that action and I can get that ear. So you can close this window or leave it here. Whatever works for you. If you have some space, leave it, but if not, you can close it and still be using F11. So just group everything and make sure that you align them. And with this, we're having the face of a pig almost ready. I'm going to go to my pen tool and press P, click and hold the click to create this kind of curve and have the mouth. On the next lesson, we're going to keep working on our pig.